We now come to Beethoven and one of the greatest and most popular works in piano literature, the Moonlight Sonata, which, incidentally, was not Beethoven's title at all, but one given to the piece by the poet Louis Rellstab, who remarked that the dreamy first movement reminded him of a boat in the moonlight floating on Lake Lucerne. There are many opinions as to the meaning of this sonata, and especially what that first movement might be trying to tell us. For example, some musicologists believe that the first movement is a funeral march for a very close friend of Beethoven's who passed away around the time Beethoven was composing this. It well could be. However, I would like to share with you my own very personal belief about the conception of this work, which of course you can either accept or disbelieve as you wish. Before I tell you, there are two things you should know. One, Beethoven was sometimes uncomfortable in social situations and unsure how to react to compliments. Biographies carry a story of him playing for a social gathering and a lady being so moved by his playing that she wept. His reaction was not to comfort her, but to say to her, "How can I play for a fool like you?" and leave the room. He didn't say that because he was unfeeling or a nasty person. He said it because he just didn't know how to respond. Now, the second thing I want you to bear in mind is this. Beethoven fell hopelessly in love with one of his piano students, the Countess Giulietta Guicciardi, hopelessly in love with her, and hopelessly in more ways than one, because she did not share his feelings. Poor man. He adored her. When she was ill, he would have a piano pushed outside her bedroom door and play for her. But you see, she was 16 and he was nearly 30, already suffering with stomach pains and starting to go deaf. And not only was there an age difference, there was a social difference. He was a commoner and she was a member of the aristocracy. So why do I mention this? I'll tell you, because Beethoven dedicated the Moonlight Sonata to her, to the Countess Giulietta Guicciardi. She was the inspiration. And knowing this, I have to tell you that for me, the famous first movement is Beethoven playing for her, perhaps even outside her bedroom door, baring his soul, telling her of his love for her, and choosing to do so in a funeral march, as though he already knows it's doomed. That right-hand motive, dum, da-dum, is the funeral bell tolling. And later on in the piece, the low left-hand octave, boom, they imitate also the funeral gong. And here is the most extraordinary thing. At the end of this first movement, when Beethoven has put us through an emotional ringer and moved us to tears, he doesn't even allow the listener any time to reflect or recover. He directs the pianist to go straight into the second movement, killing the atmosphere he's just created, almost as though he's saying to us, "How can I play for fools like you?" and walking away. And that second movement is astonishing. After the emotions of the first movement, we have this almost trite dance. What a contrast. What does it mean? Could it be Beethoven fantasizing about taking Giulietta in his arms and dancing with her? Ridiculous? Listen to the music. The first theme, so dainty and pretty. Could be Giulietta, couldn't it? The second theme, clumsy, with the accents off the beat. Could that be Beethoven? Ridiculous? Well, let me tell you something. We know as an absolute fact that Beethoven had difficulty in dancing in time. Maybe not so ridiculous. And then, after the dance, we go straight into the final movement, a whirlwind of passion and anger, one of the most vicious pieces ever written. Beethoven venting his frustrations and fury in the realization that his love for her would go nowhere. So, that's what the piece means to me. Come back with me now to the year 1800 and the lovelorn Beethoven playing for Giulietta, telling her in his music what he could not express in words. The Moonlight Sonata.